In the previous episode, Winston and I went for a long exploratory walk down a beach where I got confused as to how tides work on an island. And then on the way back, we climbed up a large sand dune for some amazing views. And then later that evening, I went out on my own to see Borv Castle and wasn't sure if I was trespassing in the process. And then a mini pizza back at the pod wrapped up another day on our 64-day adventure.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
I'm off swimming! Well, I say that, so I don't know if you guys can see me if I just squat down a bit. I say I'm off swimming. I've not been down to see the water yet, but taking into account the temperature, the wind and the tide times, I'm thinking it should be okay. So, we're just popping the wetsuit on. I've got it down by my waist at the moment. I've done the leg bit, got to do the arm bit. Now, since I last wore this wetsuit, not the last time I went swimming, like last year, I think I've lost weight a bit because it's not fitting as tightly as what it should. But on the plus note, it does make it a little bit easier to get on, but just means it's not as effective in the water. But it'll be fine. I'm not going to be out there for very long. I've had to really time it this morning. One, because of the tide and the weather. Two, because I want to try and go see a seal this afternoon. I'll tell you more about that later. And finally, because the facilities here close between 11 and 12:15. And I don't want to come back out of the cold water in a cold wetsuit and have to sit around waiting for like half hour, 45 minutes in order to get a hot shower. So I wanted to time it so that when I got back, the showers were open again, so I could literally take my kit off and get nice and warm. So, but I think everything's kind of came together. So got fingers crossed that when I get down to the water, it's going to be okay. But I think it should be. Like I said, the weather's, it's a little bit windy, not too much. It's not very bright and sunny, it's a little bit grey and overcast. I need to get this vid on now. It's a little bit grey and overcast, but that's fine. And it's relatively warm, so I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I need to get this on. see, that's not tight enough. There's too much here. Now, I am a lot thicker down below than I am up high, so finding a wetsuit was very difficult for me anyway, because I usually found if it fit my upper body well, then I couldn't get it over my legs or over my hips, and if it fit my hips well, then it was too big in the arms. This was a little bit big in the arms, but it wasn't as big as what it is at the moment, so my only conclusion, oh, I've got crap on it, my only conclusion is that I've lost weight since, because there's too much. This is too much. This isn't good. But legs aren't too bad. It's where I lose weight last. So I'm guessing I've lost weight upper body and then my thighs are going to follow. But I'll probably end up putting the weight on before I lose it. But anyway, I'm just like a little recreational swimmer, so it'll be fine. Like, shouldn't be able to like grab hold of that, but you know, could be worse. We're all right. Haven't worked out yet how I'm going to take you guys with me, because I don't know how to swim holding on to you. Don't know. Maybe I can tie you to something. I'll have a look. Tide is still quite far out. I'm going to try down there. Looking quite shallow. I mean, you don't need a lot of water to swim in, but you don't want to be scraping your knees across the bottom at the same time. So I remember yesterday when we were walking along this beach, there was a bit that was a little bit deeper than the rest, and I don't know if you remember, it had that really clear water. It's all the same water, it's a difference of like 50 metres, but it looked a lot clearer and deeper. So I'm just going to wander down to that. I don't want to be walking miles because I've got to walk that way back again. Although saying that, if the tide has came in a little bit as I'm swimming, I should be able to swim back up here a little bit, but this is looking too shallow and also very seaweedy. I don't want to be getting caught in seaweed, so let's have a look. I think I'm having a longer walk than I am swim, because I'm trying to get away from all this seaweed. This looks better over these stones. So do you know when you go to a swimming pool and the water feels cold to start with, so you dunk yourself really quickly to get that cold over with? Well, that's what I did here, which was a bad idea because I gave myself a mild version of cold water shock. Water was colder than I expected it to be. Lost a bit of breath. So cold water shock is a natural reaction to entering water that is colder than 15 degrees Celsius. So once the water got through my wetsuit to my skin, I had a sudden loss of breath. Now obviously I was in the shallow end, so I could have just stood back up again, but I thought it would be a good time to practice the advice given by the RNLI, which is to float on your back, to remain calm, and to take deep breaths. And once you can control your breathing, you're good to go. So after that, off I went for a swim. Now believe it or not, I was having a very good time. I just forgot to tell my face. Now it's quite hard to swim while holding a camera, so I tucked it into the belt of my tow float. And then that created this fabulous footage of the sand, and I think you'll agree that this really is top quality cinematic vlogging. Oh look, there's some seaweed. So I just put my head in the water for a couple of strokes of front crawl, and my head went absolutely freezing. Obviously my head's got no protection on it. So anyway, I came back up again. I'll try again, but if it's the same terrible experience, then I'm just gonna keep my head out of the water. Body's fine because it's got the wetsuit on, fingers are fine because it's got the wetsuit on, feet are fine because it's got the wetsuit on, but my head's naked. So anyway, let's try again. Now as you can see, I'm still in quite a shallow area because as I move my arms through the water, I'm disturbing the sand that I am so expertly recording right now. Oh, I'm getting up. What is it that I'm doing now? Oh, I think I'm going to say something, so let's dip the music. Right, so I can confirm that putting your head in the water, in cold Scottish waters without any protection on your head, is not good. Very cold. After a couple of strokes, it's like having brain freeze for me, like a Mr. I don't know what's it called, like a slushy. It's like that. This is quite nice. I'm in a bit of a, not current, it's just the tide, isn't it? It's just a thing. I've just swam in that direction. I'm just floating around on my back and I'm heading in that direction. It's alright, I'll just swim back again and we'll just keep doing this all day. I'll swim back, float downstream, and then swim back again, and then float again. This is great. This is like some sort of ride at Alton Towers or something. It's quite enjoyable. But yeah, I think swimming with your head in the water's off the cards, so breaststroke it is. I think it's taken me, it's taken me closer to the sand as well, because I think, see if I stand up, let's see where the ground is. Oh, I can't stand up. It's because I'm holding onto this float thing. Right, hang on. That's how deep I am. Not deep at all. Just above my knees. I was deeper, but it brought me back in. I'm tide is coming in, and I was just laid there on my floaty. Okay, I'm going to swim back up there and then float back again, I guess. And off we go again with more sand. Now, I did actually try to position the camera differently, so here you can see my arms, or should I say my arm. I'm not sure if that's any more interesting or not, but I did try to get some more interesting shots. At one point the camera moved and I ended up with this interesting footage. Now you may be wondering why I'm not doing anything with my legs, and that's because the wetsuit and the boots create buoyancy, and I find that if I kick, then I just end up splashing on top of the water. I think I just dragged you guys across the sand, sorry. Okay, so I was swimming out there, but I ended up this far from the shore. But this is a good thing. This is why you swim when the tide is coming in, because it pulls you in rather than pulls you out. So that's a good thing. I'd rather be pulled back into the shore than taken out there. So that's ideal. That's how you want it. So when you're while swimming on the coast, you want to swim 1 hour before or after the tide changes direction. And this is known as a slack tide because it's when the water has weaker currents because it's about to change direction. Now what you want to do is you want to avoid the middle 2 hours of a tide because that's when there's the most activity, and you especially want to avoid these hours during an outward tide because that is when the water may take you out and it may be impossible for you to swim back. Now I was swimming during an incoming tide, which just made it difficult for me to get away from the shoreline, but I'm absolutely fine with that. Right, I think we'll head back. That was fun. It was much colder than I expected, but I still had a good time. I'm not a fan of breaststroke because with my head out of the water, it's not as comfortable. When you do your front crawl and you put your head in the water, you're more streamlined, your body's straight. So, yeah. But as you saw, the tide kept bringing me back in again. And it was quite fun because it was taking me kind of down a bit, and then I would swim back up, and then I'd float back down, and then I'd swim back up. And I just spent time in that little cove doing that, and that's perfect for me. That's all I want. I'm not expecting to circumvent the globe. Is that the word, circumvent? You know what I mean. I'm not wanting to do... Oh, it's a bird. I'm not wanting to do miles and miles. Just want to have the experience of it, which I've done. But now I'm going to head back. I'm going to get a hot shower. And then I'm going to grab Winston and we're going to try and see a seal. I'll tell you about that later though. There's a mistake. That has been doing a wonderful job. I've been managing to find the exit off the beach every time I come on. I can't get up it. Tried to run, didn't work. So there's a quote, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it goes something like, a man never steps in the same river twice, because when he steps in the river, it's never the same river, and he's never the same man. And I like that. The river's flowing, so it's not the same water. You put your foot in, you take it out, you put it in again, it's different water. The water you put your foot in a couple of seconds ago as you move downstream. And then with regards to the other half of the quote is that the man's not the same man. Well, he's had a new experience. We all grow, we all change from our experiences. So you put your foot in the water, you take it out, maybe you've learned something from that. That the water's cold, that it's warm, that the ground is rocky, whatever. So when you put your foot in the water again, you're not the same person. You've learned something, you've experienced something, you've grown somehow. So yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking of that, walking back to the beach. I've got some funny marks on my head from my goggles. The cones are still up outside the female toilets, so I'm hoping, I haven't checked what time it is, I'm hoping they're nearly done. They don't allow wetsuits in the shower facilities here. I think they said that the sand blocks the drains, so I am going to have to take, I prefer, sorry I'm just going to let the air out of this toe float. I prefer to just jump straight in the shower, like have a hot shower with my wetsuit on and then take it off in the shower. But obviously not allowed to do that, so I'm going to have to get out of this first. Which isn't so good because it's just colder, isn't it? But, you know. What time is it? Oh, the showers are opening in 4 minutes. Give or take a little bit, but that couldn't be any more perfect timing. Right, I need to get out of this wetsuit. Now, I didn't want to get changed in my caravan because I didn't want to get my caravan wet and sandy. Plus, there's really not a lot of room in there to be trying to pull a wetsuit off. So instead, I changed outside while trying to reserve my modesty under a microfiber robe. Now, I never thought to bring a thicker dry robe because I thought it was going to be too warm for it in June. But how wrong was I? And here is the star of the show. Now, I didn't take Winston swimming this time because it was just far too cold for him, but I am going to take him for a walk. So the campsite is called Otter's Edge, and that is because there is an otter that lives around here. Now, when I was speaking to the owner yesterday, I said that I don't really tend to see wildlife, and that's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I'm not one of these people that gets terribly excited by it. I get more excited about hiking and views, So I never really purposely go out to try and find wildlife. Secondly, when I am out, I've always got my dog with me and he's running in front. So by the time I get to wherever it is, any wildlife that was there's usually scarpered. And the third reason is I'm short-sighted. Short-sighted or far-sighted? I'm not quite sure. I can't see distances very well. So details in the distance become ever so slightly blurry, and I don't tend to wear my glasses when I'm not driving, and I'm also terrible with contacts, so things really far in the distance I do lose some detail. So for all I know, I could be walking through a wood with tons of wildlife that maybe I just cannot see. Maybe there's a full Disney animation song going on and I'm completely oblivious to it. But he told me where the seal usually is. And he told me to go to that point today when it's high tide. And it's high tide in about 10 or 15 minutes. That's why when I went swimming this morning, I couldn't go at high tide. I had to go a couple of hours before high tide because I want to go, swim, get back, get showered, get changed and get out for when it is high tide. But I've got myself a little packed lunch because I've not had anything to eat yet, and we're going to go to this bench that he told me about, and we're going to sit there, and I brought my glasses with me just in case. We're going to sit there and we're going to see if we can see a seal. I don't think I've ever seen a seal before. No, I've not seen a seal. What am I seeing? I'm seeing an otter. Have I been talking about seals throughout this whole thing? We're seeing an otter. This is why I don't look for wildlife. I don't know what I'm looking at anyway. We're going to see an otter. For like an actual picnic bench, or whether I'm just looking for like a bit of wood. I don't know. Don't know how far it is. I don't know whether it's up here on the grass or whether it's closer to the beach. I probably should have asked more questions before I came on this endeavour. Now if I was an otter, bearing in mind I know nothing about otters, so this could be completely wrong, I think that bit over there looks like a good place to be feeding. So let's walk around there and see if there's a bench around there. At the moment we've been walking further than I thought, because the campsite's named after it. The campsite is named Otter's Edge, so you would expect it to be closer to the campsite. Again, probably should have asked more questions. What do you think this was in a past life? Looks like some type of farm machinery, I would think. And that goes around and picks up like vegetables or potatoes or something, I don't know. That's my theory. If anyone knows what it is, pop it in the comments. But onward we go in search of a bench and an otter. Right, so we've definitely gone too far. The campsite's named after the otter, so it must be near the campsite. So we're heading back. There is one place, kind of as we came out of the campsite, enjoying this trail that I didn't check. So I'm going to go check that place to see if there's a hidden bench. It kind of went to the left and went down a little bit, but I kind of just walked off to the right, so let's go see that bit. Right, I still cannot see a bench, but I have a feeling that this was the area he was talking about. Could be wrong, but I think this is it. Plus I'm hungry and my dog wants a drink, so we're just going to have a picnic down here and see if we see anything.
Maybe I never knew what I really wanted, but looking back I can see it's all clear. I'm still a kid trying to act like they all taught me, but nothing makes sense anymore. Maybe I could have seen it all coming, that I wouldn't grow wiser for each day. Am I the only one lost in translation, where nothing makes sense anymore?
Maybe Winston is the reason that I never get to see stuff. It's your fault, Winst. All on you. Come on, let's go. On our way back, we found lots of old machinery on the beach. Now, I've muted the audio because I just talk absolute rubbish about what I thought each part could be and what its possible use was, and I just stand there and point to them with my foot. Overall, I thought that they were all parts of old farm equipment, but what do you think they are? And do you think that they were washed up, or do you think that they were dumped on the beach? didn't see an otter. I mean, to be honest, we didn't even see a bench. So whether we were in the right place or not, I don't know. But tell you what I can see. I can get the camera right. Cows. Glad they're in a field. Don't like cows. Well, I don't like walking through herds of cows, especially with a dog. Never works out well for me. They look like nice cows. Let's go have a look. They're behind a fence. I like the grey one with its backside to us.